Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just want to drop this nugget in your spirit on today, and hopefully it helps someone. If this information is helpful for you, just hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Today, I am going to be discussing how I knew God was calling me off of my job, and why did it take so long for me to figure it out. It has been before October the 23rd of 2023. It was 3 years prior to that I kind of felt that God was calling me out for my job. I knew it, but I did not take heed to it, or I considered it, but I was asking him to make provision before I could do what it is he's asking me to do. Second of all, also I couldn't see past getting a paycheck. I used to work at the hospital, so I could not see past not getting a paycheck. I knew God was my source, but I did not fully rely on him, right? So in February of 2022, I caught COVID, and went through the process like everybody else went through their process. But one thing about my process, it would not go away. I felt good for like a week, and then next thing I know, I'll be right back sick. And this happened all the way up until maybe the first month of 2025, which that's the year we're in now. So when that started happening, I prayed about it, of course, and at that time I was missing days. I was calling out. I was on FMLA, going to different doctors, and it was terrible. It was horrible. I was miserable, right? But before even contracting COVID, I was miserable those 3 years. But I didn't know why I was miserable. I was just thinking I was growing old or just growing tired of the job. Um, for one, my desire always, um, whatever I do, I'm going to do it well. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I started noticing little things was agitating me, this and that and the third. And this is prior to me contracting COVID. Now, once I got COVID and it seemed like it would never go away, the symptoms, I was calling out. I was going to doctors and all that, like I said. But I also was praying. I also was praying for God to heal me and to remove it. To find out that He wasn't going to remove it until I actually left my job, right? So one day I remember just standing outside, like, God, if you're telling me to leave this job, I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. And all throughout the years, God has been sending me signs. He's been giving me clarity. He's been giving me confirmation, but I did not trust Him fully to take His word at what it is He was telling me to do, which in return probably delayed my process, right? So, um, I got to a point where I was at home, and it was in October, and everything was just so tense. Like, I know God's calling me to do this, and I'm asking people about it. But here's the thing: you can't always ask people about your situation, especially those that never been where you at in life. If God never called them off of their job, they're not going to 100% give you the accurate information that you're looking for, because they never went through it. But they can relate, and they can help you come up with opinions, and analyze and talk it out, of course. But they cannot just say, yeah, do it, and let's just see what happens. No, they can't do that at all, because they never done it, right? So um i remember i was I remember having to go to work. Maybe it was like a Thursday, and I was off that Monday, and I was supposed to go back on a Thursday. So I remember that weekend, just asking God, like, if you show me clarity of, again, signs after signs. And He did. He did. He even sent signs in my dream. And at this point, I knew that it was an urgency, because He gave me a scripture that also was talking about urgencies a thing, right? Gravitate to him while he's near, get him while he's near. And I was seeing that whole weekend. So I knew I had to make a decision before Thursday. But I told God, I said, you know what? If you give me a date, I will do it, right? So um he I just made up a date. I was like, okay, let's just say October the 28th. I would put in my notice. I wanted to do it the right way too, but I was sick as well. October the 28th, I'll put in my notice and tell them, this is my last 2 weeks here. That Monday, before that Thursday, as I was talking to God, I got a toothache, a really bad toothache. And so that day before that I had to work, I had to call and say, hey, I got a toothache. I'm going to get this tooth pulled. And I went and got it pulled, and it put me out for like 3 days because I can't really. I can't work with pain. So they put me out for like 2 or 3 days, and I knew then that God was really calling me off, that I was not going to return to that job. So I called them that Tuesday, and I told them effective immediately I will not be returning. So, with that being said, I had a plan that I was going to give them a date of the time that I was going to leave, and that did not happen. God pulled me off of the job before the date that I said that I was going to leave. Here's the thing, we have to know that our ways are not God's ways, nor is his thoughts our thoughts, right? So, I had 4 years of going back and forth of leaving a job that I knew he was calling me off. But I was not, I understood that he sustained me because he was sustaining me the whole time I was sick. The whole time I was sick, I watched my bank account go down to zero. I watched my credit score go from 800 to God knows what it is right now. But I did not fully trust him. To that degree of let me let this job go, because as long as we got a slight piece of security, we're going to stay in that job because we know that that job is going to pay some type of bill. But with God, when he's trying to increase your faith and when he's trying to show you who he is, he's going to take you through a process that you have to totally rely on him. And that's what I did. I had to totally rely on him, and he did his with me getting sick, and then I still reasoned with him. I still was going on and on about, okay, still trying to go to work. I still was trying to go to work when he was calling me out, right? So I know that I delayed whatever my process was, but at the same time, I also know that nothing is wasted. I'm going to be right on time. I'm right on target where God wants me. So some of the things that happened to me when I knew he was calling me off, I cried. I hated the job. My desire for the job, was out of this world. I did not desire it anymore. He was turning that desire, my passion for caring for others, into something else. And I think I stayed at the job longer than I was supposed to. And that's why it's so vital to pay attention to your walk. It is so vital to sit and talk with God, because he could be telling you something and you're not knowing it, and you stay way past you were supposed to stay. And that also makes you miserable, because I was frustrated. I was miserable. I hated my job, and I really didn't hate my job. But it was the internal. It was God allowing that thing to get to that point where I say, okay, I quit. And oftentimes that's what God will do. Sometimes he will frustrate you so much on inside that you have no choice but to do what he said. Plus the scriptures that he was giving me, the urgency, the dreams that he was giving me. I even was hearing things on social media talking about leaving a job, talking about the security in the Lord. But I didn't fully trust God to be my provider. Because like I said, we can trust him as long as we got a check coming in or things going good. But he wanted to expand my capacity a little bit more, and show me who he really is. And that has been a wonderful thing in terms of learning him, learning his ways, and listening to his voice. Now, as of today, no, I still don't have a job, but he has been sustaining me. Has it been rough? Absolutely. Being behind in your bills a month or two. I have another testimony after this, sometime that I'm going to drop about what God did during this period in 2025. But the signs that God is calling you off of your jobs that He did for me, oftentimes God will, it'll be my health. It'll be my health when He's trying to get my attention, because I am a person that I will go, go, go. I will work, work, work and try to get to work even if I'm tired. Also, He was teaching me how to rest in His presence, right? So, some things is frustration. I was miserable. Nothing was going right. And I had this internal feeling that it's more to life than this. It's more to this than this. And the reason I did not let go of my job when I knew that he was calling me off of it, for one, I did not have much knowledge of God to a certain degree. I was aware of God just like a lot of you guys, but I had a relationship, but my relationship now has become stronger. I know him. I love him. I fell in love with him. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference to be aware of who God is and to know God. That is two different things. So I've grown to this point where I know God. I'm no longer in the place of being aware of who He is and what He does and He's the creator. No, I know Him. I know His character. I know His nature. And I know that the things that He do for me is for me, benefits me no matter how it hurts. I know the consequences of my behavior, all of that. And those are things that you also have to learn on your own. I'm just up here giving you um, a piece of what my journey looked like when God was calling me off of my job. I was absolutely miserable. One thing that I loved turned into something that I hate, all because I didn't take notice or gravitated to what he was trying to tell me. And I also stayed longer than I was supposed to, right? So if this video helped you in any way, or just listening to the story, like a lot of people, you have to make sure that God is calling you off your job. And that's what I did. I was making sure that God called me off of my job, that was what I was hearing, that's what I was feeling. Because sometimes people would say, God say do this, and God didn't say. So what took me so long as well is trying to get reassured, keep asking for clarity and clarity and clarity. And that was an indication on my behalf that I did not trust God. I didn't know God like I was supposed to, even though it was a teaching moment for me. But I'm saying to you, if God is calling you off of your job, make sure that that's what God is saying. Ask him. And once you know that that is what he's saying, get in alignment and agreement with what he's asking you to do, because sometimes we stay places too long and it's not beneficial for us. It's not beneficial for us. We have to learn to trust God, because you asking God, God, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be somebody's solution and answer. And he may be saying, hey, I need to pull you off of this job in order for you to grow your capacity to get to that level where nothing is going to break you. I need to show you who I am in the midst of your poverty, because that's where we're at right now. I have no job, so I am struggling, but I know who is my provider, my source. I don't look at my jobs anymore as the resources. I go straight to God, because in I was so reliant on my job that I denied the fact what God was telling me to do. And it took almost 4 years for me to come into agreement and obedience with what he was saying to do. So until next time, if this video was helpful, just make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. Have a good one.